I mean, it's emotional to talk about it, frankly. I think everybody saw it for what it was. I respect the Democratic uh, commentators like David Axelrod and Van Jones and others who candidly, acknowledged that, that the president had had a horrible night. Probably the worst debate performance in history, with the possible exception of Nixon, who actually didn't say anything wrong. He just sweated the whole time while Kennedy looked calm because of his makeup. But in terms of perception, there's no getting away from the fact that what people saw last night is who the president is. He's very elderly. He's not as cognitively with it or as physically with it as his press secretary has insisted for over a year, insisting that people believe her and not their lying eyes. And it's sad. He's a wonderful man. I used to ride the Amtrak with him, and he couldn't have been kinder to people or more affable. I hate to see him in decline, but people decline at that age. I think we've all been through that with elderly relatives, and I think it puts the Democrats, front and center in a very difficult situation where they have to decide whether they're going to go forward with the president as their candidate, and the president has to decide whether he's determined to go forward, given what's now obvious, I think, to not only Americans but to the rest of the world. And it's interesting because all we really are talking about, is the president's difficulties last night, whereas the former president, Mr. Trump, spent the whole time lying. And by the end if he'd have been Pinocchio, by the end of the debate, his nose would have reached all the way to Jake Tapper.
How do you feel this played with the American public and potentially the world at large? Of course, our allies are watching this debate, concerned about how what can happen with the elections.
I think while both of them overstated, which allies are in their corner and how they feel about each other. I travel the world constantly and have for my entire professional career, and my sense is that our allies are not impressed with either man. They're shocked that America, has given ourselves this choice between two people of challenging circumstances, I think, for the country, and I think it's a disappointment to the free world that America is not presenting greater leadership and will not, with either of these two choices. But I think I'm more concerned, frankly, about what our adversaries think and how adventurous they can get. Now, they've been very adventurous, with the Biden administration, from the Middle East to Ukraine to Taiwan and Iran. So I think it's scary out there, and I think for the good of the country, I would be among those who would love to see the Democrats solve this problem with a younger and thoughtful leader.
Well, that's been talked about a lot since the debate last night. But what do you think about the timeline and the viability of fielding a candidate so late in the game?
I think I'm probably not as well equipped to assess that as the Democratic Party leaders and the thoughtful advisors that they have. But my personal expectation is that they have the time to do it. They have 60 days to the convention. If Biden would willingly step aside, they could reformat their ticket. But it's a huge challenge. The political challenges, particularly if they don't anoint the vice president, which I don't expect them to, that poses a lot of risks. And this could be a more difficult challenge for the Democratic Party overall than just trying to push the president across the finish line. On the other hand, that makes it a weekend at Bernie's type of a campaign, and I'm highly confident we won't see another debate between these two people.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, there's supposed to be one in September, but everyone is wondering if that makes sense. Now, Biden's handlers are saying that he was ill and that there were other reasons, but it sounds like in your opinion, there'll be more to come. It would be the same rather.
So as a part-time political consultant, I have to say the among the dumbest decisions made last night was when Biden was faltering so badly that for the Democrats to acknowledge that by 50 minutes into the debate, sending around the messages that he was not feeling well. I think, it's one thing to be afraid. It's another thing to show it. And they showed it.